Hello, a very good morning, or it could be a good afternoon, or in fact, a good evening to you joining this recorded webinar today. It's a pleasure to have you on board. My name is Stephen Ogden, and I am the Academic Director at Unlimited Educational Services based here in Istanbul. On the right, you can see an image of me. That's me delivering this presentation for you today. Also on this slide at the bottom there, you can see that I've given you my email address here, stephen.ogden@eltturkey.com. If you do have any questions or queries following this presentation, please do not to email me, and I'll look forward to replying to your questions then. So today's presentation is about using PIPS Phonics in the pre-primary age 5-year-old classroom. I'm going to be giving you quite a lot of information today on PIPS Phonics and how it works in the Bahçeşehir schools there. So if possible, as we move through the presentation, I'd appreciate it if you can take some notes, and I think this will be better for ease of reference for you in the future. But as this is a recorded webinar, there's nothing stopping you from pausing and playing as you wish as we move through the presentation today. So today's agenda then, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to be talking about these 7 things here. Firstly, we'll talk more generally about why the need to teach phonics to young learners in pre-primary and early primary. And then we're going to be looking at the PIPS Phonics approach. So we'll look at the pedagogy and the methodology behind PIPS Phonics. And then we'll look at how PIPS Phonics is going to be used in pre-primary, so age 5, there at the Bahçeşehir schools. And then following that, we'll look at the students' materials that are available in PIPS Phonics. And then we'll look at the stages and key features of teaching with PIPS Phonics. And then we'll look at the teacher's digital resources. And then, we'll look at the teacher's resources, and then finally we'll finish with the teacher's digital resources such as the Classroom iTools and the innovative Action Freeze resource. So this is today's agenda. So why bother teaching phonics at all? Well, research has shown that there's lots of advantages to raising learners' awareness of phonics. I think in English it's incredibly useful because, as we all know, how words sound and how they're written in English can differ quite a lot. So teaching phonics helps learners to understand that relationship between the spoken sound and the written letter. Also, teaching phonics helps to develop a stronger understanding and recognition of the sound, the symbol, and also the letter. And of course, phonics work is a precursor and a starting point to developing very early literacy, both spoken and written. And in addition to that, phonics teaching also develops learners' speaking competence, but not only their ability to speak, but also their confidence when speaking. And then also phonics teaching develops students' understanding of spelling patterns, which therefore makes reading and very early writing less of a challenge for our learners. But overall, I think phonics teaching builds confidence in all four skills, not only spoken and written. And I think we all agree that letters make sounds, and then sounds make words. But above all, I think the phonics classroom should be a fun place for learners. It should be highly productive, and it should be an engaging part of their class routine, almost a break from their main course or skills course teaching. So the PIPS Phonics approach then. The PIPS Phonics uses the synthetic phonics approach, and this is an internationally recognized and acknowledged system for effectively teaching phonics. The PIPS Phonics approach builds and helps students to understand the relationships between letters, so graphemes, and then sounds, phonemes. And I think the process of identifying a sound and then sounding it out through practice and then helping to blend sounds together to create words is an important part of language learning in a very early age context. As you know, the English alphabet has 26 letters, but there are 44 phonemes. So just teaching the English alphabet will not be enough when building students' ability to identify letters, sounds, and then words. And then teaching of letters and sounds should not be taught alphabetically. We shouldn't be teaching ABC sounds, but we should be teaching synthetically. So this is teaching sounds which are prioritized in order that most quickly allow learners to use it. So for example, in PIPS Phonics Level 1, the opening three sounds that learners interact with and play with are the S, the I, and the T sound, sit. So by teaching these three sounds together, it helps students to make connections between sounds and helps them to start building words for themselves. And PIPS Phonics, through its variety and wealth of resources, provides countless opportunities to not only acquire and understand sounds, but giving them ample opportunities to practice using them in the classroom. So PIPS Phonics has three levels: level 1, level 2, and level 3. But there at Berkshire, you'll only be using levels 1 and 2. So if we look here at level 1 in the table, you can see, as I mentioned, the first three sounds, s, I, and T, to create sit, and then the following three sounds, P, A, N, to create pan, etc. This is the synthetic approach to phonics teaching, and is much preferred than just teaching alphabetically A, B, C. In level 2, once students have an understanding of the vowel sounds and of the main consonant sounds, level 2 introduces the remaining consonants, as well as those small little consonant clusters, the difficult sounds in English, the sh, the th, the qu, and the ch sounds. So how is PIPS Phonics going to be used in pre-primary aged 5 there at Berkshire? As you are aware, or should be aware, Berkshire schools used a theme-based approach to their pre-primary curriculum. So in the 5-year-old group, there's 4 themes. Theme 1, Who Am I? Theme 2, Art. Theme 3, Occupations. And Theme 4, Seasons. Each of these themes lasts for an 8-week period. So 8 weeks times 4 themes is the 32-week academic year. So for themes 1 and 2, so theme 1, Who Am I? And theme 2, Art, you'll be using Pips Phonics 1. So Pips Phonics Extension Pack, age 5, is covering themes 1 and 2. And in level 1 of Pips Phonics, we are introducing, very simply, 1 letter and 1 sound phonics practice. You'll see here on the slide there is a copy of the student's book, as well as a copy of the teacher's resource book that you'll be receiving at your campuses. And we'll talk about the teacher's resources a little bit later on. For themes 3, Occupations, and theme 4, Seasons, you'll be using Pips Phonics Extension Pack 2. And the extension pack here is focusing on 1 letter and 1 sound continued from the first level. And then we start introducing 2 letters and 1 sound. I briefly mentioned to you before, the th, the sh, the qu, etc. So in effect, over the course of the academic year at Barchester here, on the extension track, you'll be using 2 levels of Pips Phonics. Pips Phonics 1 for themes 1 and 2, and Pips Phonics 2 for themes 3 and 4. Students have a variety of materials. They get, as you can see on the left, I showed you on the previous slide, students get the student's book, but as well as the student's book, they also receive a small reading pack as well, which contains 3 simple to use readers. There you can see at the top there, Reader 1, Sit Pip, Reader 2, Mud on Pip, Reader 3, Top Dog Pip. When to use these readers is also mentioned in the teacher's resource book, as they should be used once students have practiced certain sounds. As well as the reader pack, students will also receive a pop-out pack and also a sticker pack as well. And then for Pips Phonics 2, for extension pack themes 3 and 4, the same again, they will receive 3 readers for this level. So Reader 1, In Bed, Reader 2, Ben's Van, Reader 3, Cell's Box, and then below the readers there, another pop-out pack for their project work, and also a stickers pack as well. So the stickers then, every sound covered in Pips Phonics has a sticker page as well. Firstly, here on the left-hand side, you can see the sticker envelope where the stickers are placed. At the bottom there, I've just put a box around it. My name is. I would advise either asking students to put their names on if they can, or write the students' names on the front of the envelope, and then I would collect the stickers in. Otherwise, some students might misplace them, might lose them, or might, forget to bring them to the lesson that day. So I would collect the stickers in at the beginning of the year. And then the 3 sticker pages that you can see there, you can see the 3 for the 3 sounds, the S, the I, and the the T sound, and you can see various stickers that are to be used in the student's book there. So in the S stickers we have various words with a S sounding start. So we have surf, 6, spade, sandcastle, swim, etc. And then the I are for various insects, and then the T, tennis, tent, etc., teddy bear, etc. So these are the stickers that students will receive as well. As well as the stickers, they also receive their project pop-outs. There is 1 project pop-out per sound. So the 3 sounds here again, the S, the I, and the T, the S, I, T. You can see the projects that come inside the pop-out pack as well. And as with the stickers, I would suggest putting the student's name on the front of the envelope and then keeping them separately from the student's book. The S project is to create a sun. The I project is to create a hanging insect mobile, which you can hang around your class afterwards. And the T project is to paint or to color and create a tiger mask. So now let's take a look at the key features and how PIPS Phonics is staged in terms of focus on each individual sound. As you can see here, each individual sound has 2 pages in the student's book. Something to note here is that every activity on the page here has an interactive version on the teacher's digital classroom iTools. So the page here is fully interactive for the teacher, for presenting and for practicing in the class. And I'll explain a little bit more about that a little bit later on. So here on the 2 pages, we have a variety of tasks for students, mostly at the beginning moving from receptive and then moving into productive. Jill Budgell, the author of PIPS Phonics, has suggested that for each sound, so the S sound in this example, can be covered in 5 sessions, with each session lasting between 10 and 20 minutes. Now you might not have the luxury of dipping into PIPS Phonics for a short period in each session, and you might be compressing the sessions into lessons. So in that case, I would suggest that each sound should take between 2 and 3 lessons. How do these 5 sessions work? Here you can see in session 1 here, which is the introduction to the letter sound. So firstly, we're going to introduce the letter sound. So on the digital iTools, you are able to select the S here, and then you will find a video of the author, Jill Budgell, introducing the sound to you and to the class. Also in session number 1, we can focus on the core S vocabulary in the iconic image there on the page, the iconic image being the beach scene. And then also we can focus on the jingle on the right hand side. So Cell loves sun, Cell loves the sea, Cell loves sunglasses just like me. On the interactive digital classroom iTools for you teachers, when you select the jingle here, you are given 4 different styles of singing and chanting this. So this is session 1. Session 2 would be a practice page where they would see, hear, and say the words. Session 2 would involve reviewing the sound and the jingles. And session 2 then works on the tasks at the bottom of the students page. So the find and ring and the find, and then the stick sections where they're invited to stick the stickers into the iconic image. And then there's also further worksheets and practice material in Pips Phonics. It's suggested here that you could start doing some of the worksheets in session 2. In session 3, here we're moving into practice, so we review the sound and the jingle again, but most importantly we're going to practice not only saying the sound, but reading the sound, but now tracing or writing the sound. Students may still be beginning to develop their ability to hold a pencil correctly at this point, and you may need to support them with this. So I would suggest with every sound at the beginning, I would firstly get students to finger spell it in the air firstly. Secondly, what you could do is you could write the sound on the board in a board pen or a chalk, and then students delete the sound by rubbing their finger over the shape of the sound to delete the board marker or to delete the chalk. And then in the next section, children work in their books to complete cell, and then they do uppercase S and lowercase s, and also you could do further worksheet work here. Session 4, so once again, review and consolidation of the sound and of the jingle. And then here we move into the sticker activity. So we have another illustration here, quite a bare illustration. And in this illustration, we could encourage learners to add stickers from their sticker sheets that I've discussed earlier on. And at this point, we can really start playing with the sound of the letter, having fun with it. And then also in session 4, the pop-out sun project is suggested. For session 5 then, further review, further extension work. We could complete the worksheet tasks, and then we could start, as the photo in the bottom right corner shows, we could start inviting students to the digital classroom iTools at the front of the class, and for them to start playing with the interactive elements in the iTools. So there are our 5 suggested sessions for each individual sound in Pips Phonics. After each sound, then, so the sounds are presented in groups of 3. So after the S sound, we work on the I sound, the I sound here for insects, and then we move to the T sound for tiger. And then after every 3 sounds, we have a 2-page consolidation. So this is where learners apply their understanding of all 3 sounds, and this page really is helping them to develop sounds into words. For example, sit, it's, etc. So after every 3 letters in the phonics book, there is a 2-page consolidation task as well. The lesson plans in the teacher's resource book also give suggested steps for teaching this consolidation lesson as well. So Pips Phonics also comes with quite extensive teacher's resources. These will be sent to you in your campuses, as well as being supplied on a USB in PDF format. what's inside the teacher's resources? So we have further information and explanation of the synthetic approach to teaching phonics. We have more information on both the teaching and the learning resources included. There's more detailed information on the overall pedagogy, the methodology of the series, and then there is extra information on the step-by-step process of learning and practicing new sounds. There's a whole section on the reading syllabus, and then there's a great section. Please do take a look at this, the Pips, Tips and Ideas Bank. Some of the ideas in here are really good, very practical and easy to apply in your classrooms. There's also lesson plans, assessment, and we've even put some parents' letters, both translated in English and Turkish, in Word format for you. We've done these in Word format, so you're able to customize these locally if you want to put the school name or the campus name or indeed your name onto the letters as well. And every letter, as shown earlier on, has additional worksheets. They can be found, photocopy of all versions, in the back of the teacher's resource book. And there's also sound cards as well as certificates at the end of each level. So I just want to look at a couple of these now. Firstly, the lesson plans. These are quite detailed, quite extensive. Here is an example here. You can see on the left-hand side, we first have a box discussing the learning outcomes, the objectives. So what are the children learning section. Below that, we have a warning box, and this has been developed through quite extensive research into phonics in terms of the kind of problems and issues that students face when mastering new sounds. So this warning box here should help you and should give you further tips and suggestions with how to avoid common mistakes which do arise when teaching phonics at such a young age. Below that, we have the main vocabulary. We also have a box for the vocabulary covered in the scene, in the image, in the illustration, as well as further additional vocabulary. Below that, we have a copy of the jingle and the main actions for each jingle. And then on the right-hand side of the page, you can see here the 5 sessions as outlined earlier on for each of the sounds. So these can be found in the teacher's resource book. I also want to very quickly show you assessment. Here you can see a couple of examples of the photocopyable assessment worksheets here. You've got assessment 1 and assessment 2. And then on the right hand side, each assessment comes with additional notes to support you when assessing learners at this age. They can also be found in the teacher's books as well. And then lastly, worksheets. There are 3 additional worksheets per sound. Here you can see the 3 examples for the S sound that we've looked at today. And these also have digital versions on the teacher's classroom iTools as well. So you can project these in the class when students are working on these worksheets in class time. Pips Phonics comes with delightful teacher's digital classroom iTools. Really, really delightful. When you open the iTools, and I'll give you some instructions of how to access the iTools a little bit later, but when you do open the iTools, you'll see here on the image on the right hand side is what you'll see. So here you can see the 3 sounds and then a consolidation task, and then 3 following sounds and a further consolidation task, etc. At the foot of the iTools, here you can see all of the content which has been added to the iTools. So we have the student's book, we have the teacher's resource book where we can get the assessment files or the worksheet files. We have digital flashcards here. We also have digital versions of the pop-outs and also digital versions of the 3 readers. Next to the readers there on the right hand side, you can see there is a user guide that explains all of the functionality of the iTools. It's quite straightforward, but if you do have any queries with the iTools, please do take a look inside the user guide there. On the far left hand side in the box, you can see a small folder. When you select that, this will open up extra tools that you can use with your students. On the image on the right hand side here, you can see the student's book page. Like I said, every exercise is fully interactive, so when you scroll your cursor over one of these boxes and select it, it does come alive. Here you can see I focused on the image here, which is fully interactive. When you scroll over anything on the illustration, it comes alive with the word. On the left hand side here, in the box, you can see the extra functionality that you have with the iTools. Here you can add additional sounds, you could add additional video, additional songs, etc. And then also you have the highlighter pens, erasers, shape filler, buttons, etc. So the iTools also has a jingle flashcard. So when you select the jingle, here you can see on the right hand side here you can see the 4 different kinds of audio for that particular jingle. So we have a chant option, we have a spoken option, we have a natural option, and then we have a fast option. My advice would be to start with chant and build up from chant to spoken to natural and then to the fast version. Here you can hide and show the lyrics as well as being able to print off the lyrics if needed. The Digital Classroom iTools also comes with digital flashcards. By selecting the flashcard tab, then you're able to see all of the digital images that are contained in a particular sound. So here we have the S sound for the sun, but if you choose the green arrow below the sun there, the image moves on to additional S related images. Here you can also hear the audio of the word as well as print these digital flashcards to make card flashcards for the classroom. And then on the right hand side here we have an image of one of the readers, reader 1, Sit and Pip. So here we can play the reader, we can hide the text if necessary, and then at the end of the reader we have a small receptive based quiz for students that is inviting them mostly receptively to point and acknowledge different sounds, different people, different objects within the reader. So these are the digital classroom tools. There's also an additional digital component here, which is the action freeze. This is a real unique and really creative and interesting way of teaching sounds and phonics work with our students. The action freeze relates a particular action to a particular sound. So on the right hand side here of the three images on the page, you can see the young boy holding his hands up to his eyes like they are sunglasses. So this would be the action freeze for the S sound sunglasses. On the digital tools for this, when you open the tools in pretty much the same way as the digital classroom iTools, here you can select the actions at the top and you can drop them into the My Action Freeze, and then by pressing C it will create the action freezes that you can see on the right hand side. There is a guide for this as well. You can see on the image on the left hand side there is a blue circle below the cross and the question mark. If you hit the action freeze guide here, it explains the action related to each of the sounds in Pips Phonics. So how do we download and access the iTools? We will be sharing these with you via both a link and also on the USB. So when you receive your USB or you get your link and you click into it, I suggest you firstly go to Pips Phonics iTools 1 or iTools 2, select one of them, and then the folder will open, and after that you'll need to select the X-Win tab with the blue icon next to it. Once you select that, the iTools should run and open. Then you have two things here. You need to name your session and select accept. And then once you've selected accept, you'll find this session in the existing sessions in the box below. And then all you need to do is select enter and it will open up that session for you. The reason why the iTools has this feature is if you want to save particular sessions and return to them later on in the week or in the teaching cycle, you're able to do that. So if you save a session with added songs or added images or pictures, etc., by highlighting that existing session and pressing enter, it will open up that particular session for you. So this is what we've looked at today. This has been today's agenda. We've looked at why teach phonics more generally. We've looked at the approach and the methodology to Pips Phonics. We've looked at how Pips Phonics will be used in pre-primary age 5 there at the Bouchershire schools. We've also looked at the wealth of student materials, as well as the staging of the materials, and also we've looked at the teachers' resources, as well as both the digital classroom iTools and the Action Freeze digital software as well. So many great thanks for watching this recorded webinar. I really hope it's been useful for you. But as I mentioned, if you do have any questions based on Pips Phonics, please do not hesitate to email me at stephen.ogden@eltturkey.com. For teachers' materials and resources that we'll be sending you, if for some reason they haven't arrived at your campus, or you're missing something, or perhaps you've misplaced something, then could I please ask you to contact my colleague in the office, Ebru Hanum, and she'll be able to help and support you with getting further replacement materials sent out to you. So her email address is ebru.koch@eltturkey.com. So that's enough from me. I think I've spoken for far too long, but like I said, I hope it's been interesting for you. And if you do have any questions, as I said, please be in touch. But in the meantime, I wish you the very best for the new academic year ahead and the very, very best for using PIPS Phonics in the pre-primary classroom there at Barchester Schools. So wishing you well, all the best, and take care. Goodbye.